Good morning, guys. I'm Chris, and welcome back to another episode of Rift Amps. Okay, let's start off with an apology for the Q&A video, the midweek update. I tried to improve the sound of me chatting away for the questions by moving my microphone from my shirt to my overhead boom thing here. And it seemed to cause more problems than it fixed. So a lot of you commented and said there's extra hum in the video, something wasn't quite right. I'm not sure why it was picking up more hum. It might be a coincidence that I had the aircon running flat out that day. Maybe that was it. But going back and rewatching it with better speakers or headphones on, I can hear what you're talking about. Moving it back to my shirt seems to fix the issue. I don't know why. Maybe it's the type of microphone it is. I don't know. But thank you for letting me all know. I do apologise that I messed it up. Just trying to make this channel better, and sometimes you've got to make a mistake to learn from it. So there you go. Anyway, Ainsley Lister signature. Another one on the go, of course. There's always one being built. This is a board that I cut to size yesterday, drilled out, swaged in all of the eyelets, and then populated. That was yesterday afternoon's job. And now I'm just at the point of doing my twisties and my underboard connections, my overboard connections and things like that. Now, as you all know, my rule is that every amplifier I build needs to be better than the last one. It's continuous product development. I'm constantly striving to do everything better, improve what I'm doing, improve everything constantly. And I think any amp builder who doesn't do that isn't doing their job properly. And I'm pretty hard and fast on that rule. You've got to constantly be trying to improve what you're doing at all times. And so with this, you know my rule, with connections on the underside of the board, I only ever put ground connections, so blind connections underneath, ones you can't see from above. So all of those will only ever be ground connections. The exception to that rule, of course, is a wire that connects underneath the board but then disappears off into the chassis, so at least you're able to trace it. But all of the blind wires that you won't see when it's installed in the chassis are only ground wires. Reason for that is that if we end up with one of those wires coming out, for example, whether that's during a service or repair or through modification or anything like that, because it's a ground wire and the chassis is earthed, it's not going to cause any major issues. So you're not going to get a high voltage short to the chassis, or you're not going to get a signal wire that drops out and causes problems. And with ground wires, of course, if one does fall out, you can easily fix it and diagnose it from above. But as with any rule that you've got, you have to be prepared to break it if it improves the product. And I've noticed that I've been developing a better way of twisting and routing my wires above the board on this particular model. Or should I say, I'm going through what's the way to put this? I'm trying a slightly different approach to how I do my twisties and the engineering behind it and what I'm trying to achieve. Now, with any guitar amplifier, not just this one, but any amplifier you build, one of the things that you'll come across is what we call stray coupling, where essentially you create a feedback loop unintentionally within the amplifier, and a gain stage will hear itself and can start to cause problems. Now, it's never been an issue in this amplifier, but if I can find a way where I can eliminate the risk of that even further, of course I'm going to do it, because once these amplifiers leave my workshop, as you know, I rarely see them again, and when they do come back in, often I find someone else has been in there, messing around or doing whatever. and I want to make sure that if someone else is in there messing around, they don't accidentally introduce any issues, especially if they don't have the kind of equipment that we've got to diagnose this kind of stuff. So it's just constant product development, trying to improve everything for sound and reliability, future proofing, making these things idiot proof from tweakers and modders down the line, all that kind of thing. So I'm essentially having a big rethink about how I do the twisties and the under and the overboard connections on the boards. Sorry for waffling on. This is the type of thing I do all the time. Is I'm constantly thinking about how I can do things better and how I can improve things, or how can I prevent something happening further down the line that probably wouldn't happen anyway, but I can't help myself. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing at the moment. So I'm having a replan. On this particular board, I've moved some of the bits and pieces around, had a quick change of the bias supply, moved the bias pot location, the input cap to the phase inverter I've moved to a new position just to shorten the lead lengths on those, bits and pieces like that. Trying out some different ceramic caps for the in picofarad range, bits and pieces of that, because just constantly trying to improve it, make it better. And a lot of the times it's not from a tonal point, it's just from a build quality and build standard point. So yeah, there you go. But wow, that's 6.5 minutes of me waffling on about a circuit board. So anyway, I need to crack on with this, and we need to get on with the rest of the video. Weather's amazing again. We've probably had a good run of 2-3 weeks now of this weather, and it looks like it's going to continue onwards. So all of that complaining I did for the first half of the year, finally getting some payoff. So it's about 29-30 degrees again out there, Celsius or centigrade. Lovely. Anyway, making progress on this Dexter build. So the board is now in. I've done all my underboard connections. Pots are in along the front. Can we get some light on this? Hasn't made much difference, has it? Anyway, sockets are in, doing all my wiring and bits and pieces. Good progress on this. So I've got to wire up the preamp sockets, speaker jacks, and I've got to, and obviously the output sockets as well, do the controls along the front, grounding scheme, input, heaters, and this one's done. Now, as you know, the Dexter is available as a head only, but I've had a couple of people email and ask, is there a combo version coming? So I've been persuaded, you've asked enough. So this one, which I was building for stock, is going to be a combo. So I've ordered a cabinet for it, a 1x12 cabinet, that I think is going to look great. Haven't yet decided on the speaker, so if anyone's got any recommendations on what would be a good speaker for this, put them in the comments down below. I'm thinking it's probably going to be Celestian. Might do a blue, might do a gold. We'll see. But I was thinking Alnico at least, unless I have a different thought or a brainwave about a really good ceramic that might go in it. Problem with Alnicos is they put the final cost up so much because they're roughly 2.5 times the cost of ceramics now. So if you're going to use an Alnico, it really pumps everything up. So price wise, anyway. Yeah, so that's the Dexter build coming on nicely. I'm enjoying doing this one. Coming on great. And yeah, good progress. Good progress on this next Ainsley Lister signature build. So yeah, coming in quite nicely with it. So I've got all the sockets in, started making all my connections, cap cans, got my pots along the front, but I need to do my interpot connections, my ground bus. Mains, so this is an on standby off switch. So I've started to get that wired in. Good progress on that. The board, do you remember how I was saying we're trying a different way of doing the twisties on this. I'm just experimenting, so I've got lots underneath the board now, but they're only signal wires. On top is the high voltage wires, so I'm still ensuring that there's not going to be a short should something fail. But yeah, that's almost ready to go in now. But the problem with these alley chassis is they do fingerprint up quite quickly and quite easily. So I'm constantly cleaning them. So this needs another clean before I can drop the board in for the final time. There we go. I had an inquiry by email from a chap who wants me to build for him a bass amp. Now, I used to do a bass amp a good number of years ago, called it the Deep Rift. Great name, right? And in fact, I still have one out the front that I go out and gig with. But I haven't really done anything on the bass front for a while. Have we talked about this on the channel before? I don't know. But anyway, guys contacted me, wants me to do him a small 50-watt bass head that he can use, you know, for recording and low volume practice, that sort of thing. 50-watt bass heads aren't particularly loud because, as we all know, the lower the frequency, the more power you need to generate it at the same volume as the higher frequencies. Which is why bass amps are usually, you know, 10 times the power of a guitar amplifier to achieve the same volume, right? So a 50-watt bass amp is the equivalent of like a 5-watt guitar amp. So it is a practice thing, but it still comes with 50-watt transformers, so they're quite heavy. Anyway, he's asked me to build him or think about a design for one. And I want to say yes, right? But it would be easier for me if I did a run of them. So if anyone wants, because you see, if I do a run of them, I can get the price down quite a bit. So if anyone wants a small box bass head, quite simple, probably volume, treble, middle bass, maybe a presence control, I'll think about it, but a very simple all-valve bass head that's going to be reasonably priced, I think, because if I can buy the transformers in bulk, the chassis in bulk, and do all of that, I could, you know, I can keep the price down. Would you be interested? Let me know down below, because I think I'd like to do a run of bass heads. Haven't done stuff in a while. I don't know what we call it. We'll come up with a good name. We've got a good name for us, a low watt bass head. Let me know. But yeah, I think I'd probably need to do 5. It'd have to be a run of 5 as a minimum to make it all work. Could possibly do 4. We'd have to look at the numbers, but really I'd want 5 to make it all possible and to keep it a reasonable amount. But if you're a home guitar player who wants a really good high quality bass head, probably 6L6s I would have thought, for home recording, let me know. Let's do ourselves a build shelf update. So the 57 Tweed Limited run number 1, that chassis is done. Just waiting on faceplates and bits and pieces, and then that one can go. Happy with how that one is now. The PR18/50, that build is pretty much done. Just got to do some final bits and pieces. Again, waiting on faceplates for that. Cabinets here, speakers here, so we can get, once those plates arrive, we can get this thing finished and out the door. Doing a brown panel PR18 for customer at Falk Music in Norway, so that one is in build. 57 Tweed number 2. Now that number 1 is done and I'm happy with all the spacings on the thing, I can go ahead, get this chassis finished, finished drilled and things, marked out, and get that one done. Then I've got 3, 4 and 5 to do. This is the custom 50-watt build for Ed that I've already started marking out bits and pieces on. I did the... That's the rear. I haven't done the rear yet, but I've marked out the front panel with all my bits and pieces on, so I know where those are going to go. Transformers came in for that, so came in the other day, so really happy with these. No choke on this build, so it's just the power and the mains transformer. 50 watt. It's a 3K4 primary on this one. It's 4, 8 and 16 ohms. But I did find in my stash an old Marshall 50 watt output transformer. The only problem with this is it doesn't have a 16 ohm tap. It's only got 4 and 8 because it's a Canadian spec 50 watt transformer. Still 3K4 primary. So I'm going to... The problem is this amp needs a 16 ohm tap on it. So I really wanted to use this, but I don't think I can. But now that I've found it, I've tested it, it's all good. I might be tempted to do something cool with that. I haven't built a 50 watt Marshall in a while. And if we just did it with an 8 ohm tap, that'd be great. So I'm going to use that on something. But yeah, transformers are in for Ed's amp, so I can make progress on that. I've done the... I'm sure I showed you, I did the board layout on paper, and that's reversed, so I could mark it out on top. So yeah, good progress. That's the build shelf. Repair shelf, looking rather sparse. The only thing I've got left here that I'm waiting bits on is the 66, is it 66? 66 Princeton Reverb, the one that's having the output transformer rewound. They did message me the other day, the winder, because they've obviously unwound that transformer, and they said the primary impedance is not what we thought it was. We thought it was 8K, and they said it's actually 8K2. So he just wanted to clarify what we wanted to do on that, and I said we'll rewind it as it originally was. That's what we need to do. So yeah, that's that. But that's the repair shelf. There's nothing there. I have got a couple more amps coming in next week or the week after, I should say, for repair. But yeah, it's looking rather sparse. So if you need something repairing, get in touch. Good news, or bad news, whichever way you look at it. The 57 Tweed number 5, not this one, this is number 1, but the 5th one that I'm building, the customer has just cancelled on. Damn. So there is one available. So if you're interested, I'm going to put it on the website, on the listing. One left, one to go. If you want it, snap it up quick. Bit of a short one this week, guys. I'm really sorry. I didn't really film that much on Wednesday, Thursday and Friday morning. I've just had my head down on the bench building that Dexter and the Ainsley Lister. So sorry about that. But sometimes that's the way it goes. Can't show you everything. I've been doing loads of paperwork as well, and it's not exciting. It's not exciting one bit, but you know, it's part of the business, has to be done. So, as always, give this video a thumbs up. All your comments and questions for midweek Q&A down below. Join the channel if you haven't already, like these guys have. Subscribe, and there was something else. Don't know. Anyway, I will catch you at the next one.